right, guys, we'll get started in just a couple minutes. We're gonna wait to see if we have any more people come on. All right, can you guys hear me okay? Sandy and Kent are all good. Newbridge, I hope you can hear me. Maybe I'm gonna send you a quick message here. Sorry I didn't capitalize your whole name. My bad. Okay, we're just gonna wait for them to check in. There they are. Excellent. So we are going to get started. If more people join us, that's great. If not, you guys are going to get all the help and attention you would like today. So first of all, you probably noticed that our video links did not show up on the state webpage or the STEM page. That's because, if you'll recall last week, remember when I got booted off my network? Yeah, the recording got lost, or rather not saved. So we don't have that from last week, but that's okay. We can cope with that. I am still working on the FAQ page, but that should be up tomorrow at the latest. So things are moving ahead there. Same with the kind of STEM plan template that I said I would look into. So I am working on that, and that should be up by tomorrow afternoon as well. So moving forward on those commitments from last week. Before we really dive into dimensions 3 and 4 today, do you guys have any questions that you want me to address? Nobody's typing. Okay, well, we will go ahead and dive into dimensions 3 and 4 then. I will take over your computer screens, or share my screen with you rather. But let me know, just like last week, if you have a question, feel free to just type that in and we'll address it then and there. So I'm gonna turn this on. Here's my husband's picture again. Excellent. All right. So I just wanted to remind you where I'm finding this document. If you go to stem.utah.gov And this is working now. I'm not sure why it wasn't working for some of you last week. I have been told that the page is working. I checked just before we came on, so we could address that if it's still a problem. But if you go to Programs and then STEM School Designation and click on that, there's a whole bunch of stuff. This is the list of schools that are already STEM designated and their levels. The description, here's kind of all of the stuff. So eligibility information, the application documents, which is what we're going to be looking at today, the timeline, and then here are some example applications. And then if you want the overview from last school year, it's right here. That being said, let's just dive in. Today's two dimensions, dimension 3 and 4, are actually, I think, two of the most straightforward of the 10 dimensions. The first one is, oh, not that. Okay, dimension 3 is all about assessment, and I feel like these indicators are really fairly obvious, or elements. So the first one is that your school is using SLOs. What we're looking for as far as that goes are students being aware of their progress, and then using qualitative as well as quantitative assessment information. I do want to point out here that we would love to see your SLO documentation, but please remove student information from those, just to protect their privacy and to make sure that we're all following the rules as well. While these applications and the evidence with them are not necessarily shared out, and if they are shared, like the examples I showed you on the website, I make sure that that information is removed first. It's just a lot easier and much more comfortable for the reviewers to not have student information given to them in the first place. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down now. These are little short guys today, so we won't be here for very long, I don't think. The next one is evidence that assessment is used to inform instruction. So we're really focusing on formative assessment. You can see here in this box, assessments are ongoing, authentic, and cross-curricular. They are project-focused and performance-based. And this is where I think things become really important. Rubrics for projects are provided and articulate with the goals of the assessment. So I think what this really comes down to is, are you utilizing appropriate assessment methods? Are rubrics used? And do they make sense for what they're being assessed with? I personally believe that rubrics are a fantastic assessment tool. And I really do like seeing these in place because they can provide so much feedback information without a lot of extra work. So once a good rubric is prepared, it can be used over and over with very little modification on the end of the teacher. I also think that once students understand how to use a rubric, things get pretty smooth sailing. They know what they're supposed to be doing. Just like we have a rubric here, they know what the expectations are and then can work off of that from there. And I think we've all known students that are like, I'm fine with just being, in this instance, in the 2 level. Then that's fine. But it also empowers them. So it's a great way to get student input and voice in something that they may not necessarily always participate in, meaning their assessment. So what we would like to see as far as evidence goes, maybe some gradebook information, scope and sequence with assessment periods noted in them. We would love to see perhaps teachers' lesson plans with feedback on what needs to be changed after giving a lesson initially. I think that would be fantastic. Team meeting notes, and then rubrics for projects. All of those would be very valid. Notice here that this requirement isn't here for the exemplary. Teachers use observation and monitor student dialogue to consistently assess student learning and then share that information. Sometimes we don't want to necessarily hear what our students have to say about what we're teaching them, but it is a really valuable source of feedback, and I'd like to see how other people are monitoring that. It's a question that I get fairly often, and I'd like to be able to provide people with some feedback there that's more than just my experience. So anything you guys want to share on that would be great. Let's see. That is dimension number 3. That is assessment. So SLOs, and then appropriately using assessment to modify instruction. Next is professional learning. This is one of the dimensions that is near and dear to my heart. I think it's a big deal. So let's just take a quick look at this. 4A is referring to staff engagement, and this is all about making sure staff are participating in professional development and that they're willing to try new things that are essentially to the benefit of their students. You can see here that we do expect professional learning to follow the professional learning standards, and this covers things like ongoing, relevant, just kind of these basic PD things. I would take us, why don't I just take us there really quickly? That might be more useful. Well, of course that happened. Never mind. I'll fix that link and get it out to you guys. Ooh, nice. So Sandy just asked if certificates of completion would be good evidence for that. Absolutely. We would love to see copies of those certificates of completion or those certificates granting relicensure hours. That would be an excellent piece of evidence for that component. Good question. I want to take a look at the rest of the exemplary ones, and I will fix that link. I'm not quite sure why it's not working, but of course it's like the one I didn't check, right? So here we go. So this one says, let me shrink that, okay. So school leaders make sure teachers participate in STEM PD at least once per month. This does not have to be outside PD either. They could be meeting minutes where PD was offered by somebody on staff regarding PD or STEM professional learning. So it doesn't need to always be something outside the building, but it would be nice if sometimes it was also. Next, staff members regularly try new strategies. Again, this can be challenging. We all have kind of our go-tos that we rely on heavily, and those are fine, but it's also in everyone's best interest to try new things occasionally. So evidence of that would be fantastic, and those would include things just like perhaps a teacher's write-up of, I tried this strategy, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, something along those lines. Maybe if they shared that out to your staff and that was captured in meeting minutes, something like that, just to demonstrate that new strategies are being demonstrated or tried every so often. And then the last for exemplary are PD experiences or staff collaboration time are structured to at least sometimes focus on new strategies or new practices. So people are learning about them and they're implementing them. And again, you don't have to try everything, but it would be great to see some people try some new ideas out. So as far as evidence goes, flyers, memos, emails, just letting people know about PD opportunities, scheduled PDs, perhaps within staff meetings or something like that. A schedule of those would be appropriate, and agendas of meetings that teachers attend would all be appropriate, along with certificates of completion like Sandy mentioned. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, next, Rpd resources. And this really is focusing on making sure that some resources at the school level, both time and or funding, are being made available to help teachers become better teachers. So you can see here, let's just look at existing really quickly, making sure that professional development opportunities are identified and then shared with staff members. School leadership making sure that PD is high quality. Many of these actually complement 4A. You're probably going to have a lot of the same evidence. Just remember that you need to upload it for both elements so it's easy for reviewers to find, but there will be some repetition here potentially. Next, we have school leadership just supporting staff in STEM professional learning. And then this last one where it says leaders designate financial and human resources, this would be like, are teachers able to get substitutes if they are attending a professional learning opportunity during the school day? That's kind of what is being looked for there. And again, I understand that that's not going to happen every time, but evidence of it happening at least occasionally within the school's resources is what we're looking for there. You can see in Exemplary the things that are added on, leadership obtaining other resources to help support these funding streams, leaders evaluating how PD actually impacts their teachers, and then learning communities that support personal growth and school-wide growth. So these are your PLCs. Are they working well? Are they supporting the members? Now, again, this is where those certificates of completion would come into place. Grant awards or applications would be appropriate here. If you're participating in our professional development project this school year, this would be an appropriate place to attach that application. Meeting minutes, again, are appropriate here. And then observations by leadership of teachers putting into practice new strategies would be fantastic here as well. Okay, there was one more here. Whoa, my fingers are sliding. Okay. So 4C, I think that this can sometimes be challenging, mostly because it's hard to sit down and reflect on your work and how you're doing, but it needs to be done. So 4C is all about the staff participating in self-reflection to understand how to improve themselves. So existing here, we have staff members identifying times to consider their strengths and weaknesses, and then they're documenting monthly how they can improve their own practice. In addition to that, for Exemplary, you have staff members developing strategies. So in this one, they have identified times, and in this one, we actually have strategies for peer collaboration to help improve a teacher's practice. And then down here, we have staff members documenting weekly how they have improved. This is a tall order, honestly. I wouldn't expect very many schools to be at a full out 3 on this particular element. It is something that we would like to see more of. And I know in talking to our legislative supporters, they would like to see that happening more often as well. A couple of things that can be done for evidence here. Videos of a teacher filming themselves and then their self-evaluation notes, or SMART goals created by teachers identifying specific areas of improvement would also be very appropriate here. Again, I know this is hard, and I know as a former teacher, I'm not sure I would have been super willing to share my self-reflections with others, and I get that, but it's also, research shows a very effective strategy for actually improving teacher performance. So just something to consider. Challenging, but worthwhile. Let's see, do you guys have any questions right now? I'm not seeing any pop up. Nope. Okay. I think there was one more thing I wanted to show you. Yeah. So last week I feel kind of bad. I didn't make this very clear. This is in the overview for this school year. So if back on the web page here, you go to, let me slide this down. If you go to our application documents and click on overview, that's just a little slideshow that I've created. It looks like this. I wanted to point out, because we didn't make this explicit last week, the different point values associated with each designation level. So within the application, if you'll recall, you're going to identify for each element whether you are a 0, 1, 2, or 3, 3 being exemplary. On your application, you're going to add up all those scores, and that will tell you which designation level you are applying for. If you get less than 69 points, or 69 points or lower, then we probably want to take another school year and really identify those areas where we can work on some growth, because we're not quite ready for a STEM school designation. The bronze level is 70 to 80 points, silver is 81 to 90, gold is 91 to 99, and platinum is 100 points or above. As this is the second year, I would expect to see mostly silver and gold designations being applied for. There, of course, will be some platinum, although as we go through these things and you look at the indicators for 3 points in each of these, you may have noticed that some of them are pretty challenging. What I would typically expect is silver or gold, depending on a variety of things, including staff administration, how long your school's been around, what the school's focus has been over time, etc. But that's probably where most of you will land. If you're not sure, or if in your intent to apply you chose a designation level and now you're thinking that that was wrong, either it was too low or too high, that's totally fine. That intent to apply level was just an indicator for me, so I could start thinking about site visits. If you apply for gold or platinum, then a site visit will occur. That will happen with myself and then some other members of the review team. And these site visits are absolutely not intended to be critical. We want to come out and see the great things you're doing and really celebrate what you've been able to do within your school. So they are not something to be afraid about or nervous about. We're just there to really give you kudos to what you've been able to achieve. So don't let that deter you. I do know there were schools last year that didn't want a site visit, so they intentionally applied for silver when they very easily could have gone for gold, but they didn't want to worry about the site visit. And if that's what you're thinking, you don't need to worry about it. It's a fun, lighthearted, positive visit. Okay. You guys are being pretty quiet this week. What can I help you with? Oh. I see some typing here today. Good. Awesome, Newbridge. George Washington Academy, do you guys have any questions for me today? Today was really quick. Dimensions 3 and 4 are pretty fast, pretty obvious, but I wanted to make sure we all had the opportunity to go over that. All right. I see that Kent is wrapping up. Good. So where am I going to complete the post the completed webinars? They will be, if you want to see where I'm going to put them, go ahead and stay on. I'm just going to share my screen really quickly with you guys. And they will be put, if you go to the STEM Schools page, they will actually have a link that just right up here at the top, the 2016-2017 webinars. There will just be a link to them right here. That's where the FAQ page will be as well. And since we're going so fast today, I might even get that up this afternoon. But they'll be right here as soon as you open up this page. Okay, all right, guys. I see Sandy is typing up. I think we're all good. So I will get everything posted at the latest tomorrow afternoon. I think I'm going to try to stay and I still have a couple hours, so I'll get that done first. But let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will hear from you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks, you guys. Bye.